Hello, Assalamu alaikum. So today we are going to discuss one of the question from the topic functions, and it is from the paper 4MA1 2H, and the year is 2022. So the function says that it is defined by g is a function of x such that 5 plus 6x minus x square with the domain is that x should be greater than or equals to 3. Now express the inverse function g inverse in the form. So basically what they're asking for is that they're asking for the inverse function. They're asking for the inverse function of this given function. So it's clearly can be observed that gx is basically, it can also be written as like this. It's a quadratic function. Why quadratic? Because the variable is having a maximum power of 2, so it's a quadratic function. So it's better to first of all write the quadratic equation in its general and standardized form, which says that x squared should be first, then 6x should be there, and then the constant should be at the end. So I have just rearranged the terms so that we have the general form of a quadratic equation. Now in this function, since we are required to find out the inverse, so it's better to use the completing square method to find out the inverse function. Now what is the completing square method? The completing square method says that the coefficient of x square has to be 1. So here I can see that there is nothing written with the x square, so it means the coefficient of x square is 1. But the problem is that the x square is negative. So before applying the completing square method, it's recommended that the sign of the x square should be positive. So for that, what I'm gonna do is I'm going to take negative common like this. This will help me in making the x square positive, but the signs of the other term will be changed. So now it's the general and the standardized form. The standardized form is ax square plus bx plus c, just for your knowledge. This form can be used for applying the quadratic formula. So what is the quadratic formula, or basically the completing square formula? Because quadratic formula is used for finding the value of x, and completing square method is used for graphing as well, and for the inverse, finding inverse of quadratic as well. So completing square method as a specific formula. For your convenience, I'm writing here x minus b over 2 whole square minus b upon 2 whole square plus c. So here we need to just identify b and c. So I can see this one as b and this one as c. So I'm just gonna plug in here, minus remains as it is, and I'm going to apply the formula x minus b upon 2. B is 6, so 6 upon 2 whole square. Then again b upon 2 means 6 upon 2 whole square, and then in the place of c I'm gonna write minus 5 like this. So now for completing square, the brackets remain same, but I will simplify 6 upon 2, which is equals to 3, this, and I can use calculator to find out this whole term. And even I can do mentally as well, that it's 3 square is 9, so it becomes minus 9 minus 5. So let's complete it here. It becomes negative as it is, x minus 3 whole square, and then 9 and 5 gives me negative 14. So that's how I have completed. So this is my function now, gx. Now I can use the inverse technique for finding the inverse of this function. It becomes easy for me now. Now what is that technique? That the step says that the first step is make the function equals to y, and now I'm gonna open the brackets as well. I will multiply negative inside. It becomes 14 minus x minus 3 whole square. So negative comes here, and negative times negative make 14 positive. First step is to write the whole function as y. Second step is to replace x with y and y with x like this, and then make y the subject. So if I want to make y the subject, I'm taking this on the other side. It becomes y minus 3 whole square, and then it becomes 14 minus x. I'm taking x on this side, so that y becomes positive. Now let's continue here. So in order to remove the square root, I'm gonna take square root on both sides to remove square. It becomes square root 14 minus x. So it becomes y minus 3, because the square got cancelled, becomes square root 14 minus x, or simply y is equals to square root 14 minus x plus 3. So that's the last step. This y means that we have calculated the inverse now. So the inverse was of g, so g inverse x is equals to, I can write it here and the answer as well, square root 14 minus x plus 3. That's how the inverse is calculated, and you have got the right answer, and it will award you 4 marks. So I hope the concept is clear.